So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and speak a little bit to the four truths. So when we talk about surrender, you know, I look at it now as a necessity to move on. I don't look at surrendering as somebody that's giving up on something. It's just somebody that understands that whatever they do is not going to change its outcome. So they have to move on. To move on, I have to let go. I have to surrender. Surrendering is actually a choice. So when I was dying, in my head, from my personal experience, is only my experience, I believe that if I did not say it was okay to die, I would have still struggled in my living body. I had to give myself permission to let go. So it's a choice, but you don't have a choice not to make it, right? So we have to understand the difference between I want a fish or I want steak, or when I'm dying, that I can't change the outcome. And you have to accept that. And then, of course, you have to trust. I trust that if I inhale, I'm going to take in oxygen. I don't even think about it. So we have to trust that the universe loves me and it moves through me. And then I think this is really hard for us as human beings, but we have to trust, utterly trust, in allowing ourselves to be taken. It's a hard concept for a lot of people. It's even hard for us sometimes to love and give our love because we're afraid of being hurt. But we all come to that moment when we have to kind of trust that I'm going to be safe, I'm going to be loved, wherever I'm going, it's going to be okay. And then the act of acceptance is really when we end our resistance and our denial. It's the point where every option has been exhausted and we have to make peace with ourselves. It's taking ownership of all our deeds, good or bad. And for many of us throughout life, because we've had difficulties accepting traumatic or difficult events, we tend to get stuck in that time and we can't move. So if something happens to me when I'm 7, a part of me will always be 7 if it's very traumatic. With the act of acceptance, we can now move on and find our freedom. And it's a lot of people are fearful of dying and things like that, but we are so resilient that when that moment comes, we will be able to navigate through there in a good way, even if it's a traumatic death. And now the truth about letting go. So letting go is like a fork in the road. It means I have been moving in one direction my entire life, what I've been living. And now I need to take the path that presents itself before me. So the path is unknown. But that is the world that's opened up before me. And on that path, I can meet and embrace my future, whatever future means. Letting go is realizing that the original path has ended and you need to move forward in another direction. Letting go is a choice also. We all have lived through some very difficult times, some hard moments in life. We often tend to remember those moments most. And that's a choice that we make. But me, the new me, I choose to remember moments like this moment where I take a breath and I fill my lungs with life. Where I can look to my right and see through my window the beautiful blue sky and the soft breeze dance with the branches of trees before the daylight surrenders to the night to fill the sky with stars. These moments are eternally moving around me, always in full display, and the deep knowing that somewhere, somehow, I am loved. Because I know these are the moments that will live with me forever. These other times when I don't feel good, or the moment causes me pain, these will get lost. But this moment, this I can take with me on my journey through eternity. So I ask you, what will you choose to remember? Let's become more aware of these little things in life, these little details that happen every day that are so special. Taking a deep breath is so special, just any breath. And then the truth about letting go is also, and this was very profound to me because it didn't mean that I was giving up. It didn't mean that I was forgetting. It doesn't mean that I'm weak. It wasn't a weakness. There is no shame in letting go. Letting go ultimately becomes a transformation. Letting go is the removal of limitations and a realization that I am not my body. I am not this. I am beautiful. No matter what anybody thinks or says. We all are. And then union with your true self, simply, when I was falling through those holes and I was feeling all this pain and like I was being torn apart, I realized that I was just losing all those bad memories that were being stripped away. All those experiences that were negative. And it stripped all those layers of experience and identity that we cling to define ourselves. So what I'm saying is the title of father, mother, engineer, artist, healer, teacher, friend, son, daughter, etc. As we move through that experience, all those attachments dissolve and are peeled, falling away from us. We're then left exposed but pure. And we're so fearful of being exposed whilst we're in this body. In our purity, we are reliant on one thing and one thing only, and that's trust. Trust is the unknown and in the forces of creation of God. So that's what exists in creation and God to me, love and trust. And when all these things are removed from us, when we don't start thinking about what am I, then we become whole and we become more connected with the world that we live in. And we begin to appreciate the simplicity that life is. And I think that's what life is meant to be. Yes, it's okay to have all this technology and do all these amazing things, but it's also, we can't lose sight of our connectivity to everything else that exists here and all around us. And I think when we become that whole, we begin to feel more connected to Mother Earth, to all these things around us, to each other. So living in union with our true selves demands that we continue to remind ourselves of who we really are. Union means that we repeatedly choose not to strive to compare and contrast ourselves with others. Union means that we choose not to define ourselves by our titles, achievements, and or our material belongings. Union means that we simply exist and shine in the pure light of the essence of our true selves, and we acknowledge the same in others. So, to me, those are the most important lessons that I got from my death. An awareness that no matter how alone I feel sometimes, a realization that I know I'm never alone.